Hey people, let me warn all y'all hypocrites right now that I am Scully Skull. I am Scully Skull. Surely stoned. This is all added in there. You see it's just not there. It's just surely stoned. There is no he shall be. So this is just a huge part of the poetry in the Bible that they removed. Every time it says surely in the Bible, it's just saying that it doubled a word up. Word number 5619. I am Scully Skull. And a lot of times they'll change the word number and change the meaning. But you see the same thing here, it surely shall put to death, is moody a moot. Moody moot is what the old gangsters used to say, to shut him up, make him moody moot. And here's another one right here in front of you, not shall touch him a hand, but surely he shall be stoned. And not shall touch is L-A-T-G-O, let go. And so it doesn't mean not shall touch. It just means you've already touched it. It's time to let go. It's trying you let go of something. And they got it all twisted to fit their agenda. And you see that in most of the commandments. It's lat comed, the 10th commandment, and lat one, and lat nab, and lat nap, to commit adultery, to sleep, nap, and lat tracks. And this is the next movie. It's where your word matrix comes from. And matrix simply means from the woman, from atrix. And atrix is a woman. Oratrix is the woman speaker. A testatrix is a woman's last testament. A philatrix is a woman sucking. Administratrix is a female administrator. And so a trix is a woman. And it's where the word, turning tricks come from. Doing what only a woman can do. So a homosexual man cannot turn tricks because you don't have an atrix. But I'll get more into that in the next movie. And in this movie you might find some holes, and I need to come back and look over this again. But I have some good information here. I'll show you where the word Egypt comes from. And so it's where your word late comes from. Later, after, and after this time, to go. Don't touch it again. Let go. Later. This is what I was wanting to talk about. I was wanting to talk about, this Scully Skull. And it comes up mostly in this Exodus 19 and 21. It's the chapter before and after the Ten Commandments. This Scully Skull, it comes up, once here in Exodus 19:13, where we were just looking. And then it comes up again here, Exodus 21, the chapter after the Ten Commandments, the Scully Skull. And then without the skull in front of it, it's just shall be stoned. It's only surely when it's doubled up. So there's several of these, this Exodus 21, right after the Ten Commandments. You can see here, so that he dies, the 4191, 3 times in a row. And might moody omit. And he who strikes his father or his mother, moody omit. And here, and thoroughly shall provide to be healed. The word 7495. Rappy rap. Where pay the rap. And surely shall he be punished. 5358. It's coming with this W. When come. When the coming comes, surely he shall be punished. Surely he shall be punished, The hand when coming come, he shall pay and thoroughly shall provide for him to be healed. When coming come, it in a rappy rap. Where pay the rap. The pay for what you did. If they're fighting and they cause a woman to have premature birth, the surely he shall be punished is now word 6064. As when a nusi anuncianus. That would be the law of honest Janus. And accordingly as impose on him husband of the woman, and he shall pay as the judge determined. In all has the wanton in appealum. And so the main reason for the King James interpretation was to hide this, that the poets were having fun, were a rappy rap. They didn't want you to know that there was poetry in here, because people think about poetry and they think, you have to twist the words to make them rhyme. So, you really can't take it as fact. And so that's the main reason for the King James Bible, is to hide the fact that they was rapping. They was the rappy rap rappers, and thoroughly will be healed with my words, the rappy rap rapper. And somewhere in here I've found where the word Egypt comes from, and I figure out how it got its name and what that means. And here, if a man strikes the eye of his manservant or the eye of his maidservant and destroys it, free he shall let him go. Was it elapsy? Was it elapsy is lend to? Elapse the lean to. They'll say elapse coming from the Latin word elabi, meaning to slip away. But it doesn't come from elabi. It comes from the Hebrew word elapse, meaning to slip away. Free he shall let him go, to slip away. And elapsy is lean to. And they put a bunch of this off as in the laws of your ox, but it's just not. It's laws for your kings, and they put it off on the ox, so you don't realize that it's talking about stoning your king, the scully skull. And the scully skull, it comes from sailors, the scully skull. It can have several meanings, but the scully is the oar, and when somebody screws up, you make them crawl through the package, or there's different initiations when you cross the equator, or when you cross into the realm of Boris Rex or something, and they'll set up initiations, and you have the scully skull, and it's where you got to go through the scully, and they spanking you with bats and oars, and so it doesn't have anything to do with stoned. A scully is an oar, but the skull is, to propel a boat with sculls. They'll say it's a pair of oars, but, you can scull a boat with one oar. The Navy no longer allows this. Back in the day, they were allowing them to use fire hoses. But before that, it was oars. You was being sculled. And so it wasn't necessary just for initiations. Sometimes you walked out of court under the judgment of Scully Skull, and that means everybody was going to beat you with sticks. You were have to walk through this tunnel, and they were going to beat you out of that town, and they were going to throw rocks at you until you left town, and that was to let you know never come back to this town. Every time you come to that town, they're going to be stoning you. And so Scully is probably Ra. If Ra is not steering the boat, his head is on the steering oar. Anytime he's not in the boat, you'll see his head on the oar. And what it means is everybody in this boat is a rascal. They're all rascals. In all these ancient writings, it's about rascals. They'll tell you it come from 12th century French, outcast. But it's actually an ancient Egyptian word. And we'll see that down here lower where it's talking about Ra. But here what they're saying is an ox. This isn't an ox. This is the bull. The nigga is the bull. And am, I am. And am sure nigga who might maul. He might maul you, It's not but if the ox tended to thrust with its horn. It's no am sure nigger who might maul. And so a nigger who might maul is called a Sam. You can find all this in a book called The Power of the Bull. And you can get this piece of it free on Google Books. But the nig is the base word for bull. You see here, NG, NGA, NGAU, the nig of, the bull of, NG. And when he turns his head cocked sideways, that's Sam. That's nigga Sam. Means the mad bull. And you'll see this word change up a lot, and it just means sometimes it starts with the I and it is where, and sometimes it starts with the vav and it's was where. The time, this is the attitude, is where, was where, and am sure, nigga, am sure the bull who might maul. Might maul means he has his head turned sideways, and might maul sells from, it's what he's selling. You look at it and that's what it looks like. But, the might maul sell Sam is what that says. And he's talking about the angry bull. He ain't talking nothing about an ox. And he's probably mad because he knew he was the Samadi. He was going to be the sacrificial bull. The Sam. He's not happy about it. It's the hieroglyph for rage, twisted to the side. He's a wild bull. He's Sam. You see over here, Sammy Sam, very mad. And I'm sure nigga who might maul sells them. We would believe. Believe is the owner, the one you're going to believe. We would believe to laze renew, it's renew. That's your base. That's where your word reincarnation comes from. Renew. And emitter is of, as he's where, is fell. So that's the second word, in the scully skull. And you see it when it's by itself, it means is fell. And as he is where is fell. I'm going to drop him right there. Is where is fell, and come in holy who omit shall be put to death. When they put to death a bull, it means that the king is dead. The king's got to be buried with the bull. They got to have the skin for the king to be wrapped in. So killing a bull means killing the king. Of in nigga, of in tigga, come sepit. Accept what you get. This is also where your word, deception comes from. Conception and deception and sepit, the sepidum, and come sepit these, which is just the way it's got to be. Come sepit. Come sepit these, the jostle too. And so they'll hide it in other words too. You still got the scully here. The sells them, the scully, mid 'em, with 'em. Sells them the scully with 'em. Lading. Lading is, the bill of lading is a list of everything on board your vessel. The lading of is where. Is fell. And so this is, M of OV of digi. Of digi is your fingers. And so this is the sister city of Egypt here. M of digi is where of X. EKS. X as in letter X. That would be your Spanish spelling of the letter X, EKS. And then the P, is an F. M of digi is where of X of. Yeah, old lady's giving you the middle finger. And is where of X of fisk, back the other way. X of fiscum. Of, the A is reading with the V here. Of in arus. Of arus. Go stir up a X of fiscum. Of arus. And hedged. HGID, hedged. Around the perimeter, the hedged in 'em, and then as lessum scullies might in lading of his where is fell. And so this next line underneath here is where your word caution come from. If a man opens a pit or if digs a man a pit and not does cover it. It's where your word caution come from. And to lay, and L-A-Y, and lay caution. They'll tell you caution come from old French cave. Yeah, a pit, the cave. But, they're a couple thousand years off there. You can see it in this Japanese word, the kabishu, akashi, go back, turn around. And a key, in here, if they sever. And here, if they sever of, see a crease bare. And lay caution to and fell. Sam is where of comer. Sam, angry is where of comer. And so this is where your word Egypt comes from right here, this IGP, the hurts. And it was similar to this word, the idgy, reading with this D, the didge, the digi. And you can see in this class of words, Egypt, and Egypt, and with the I, the Egypt. They say it means hurts or strike, smite. And what it means is a stub toe. And you can see it when you read it with the upper markings, a key, and here, piggy, PG, PGI, piggy, jip. And so that's what Egypt means. And it's where your little piggies come from. It means toes. And so it was a sailor's word, This is the river and the head's up, and this is the foot of the river, And you got one body that comes down and separates into two legs. And out here at the end of the foot, the river splits in all the different toes. And so the toes is all these little different sections of land between all the rivers. You got 2 feet here, and you got about 10 toes across there. And so this is Egypt. Egypt is just the toes out here. That's why they call the rest of this Kemet. Nobody ever called this Egypt before. It was always Kem. The Egypt was the sailor's word for the farms out here, where they farmed fish and crops. A key. And here Egypt's where is at shore, roll who. This is Rahu, the north node, but you can't spell a word with an O-E without putting an L between it. At shore, the roll, R-O-L, the roll who. Omittum crew at. Is where the high, the live, the high. Which zoo, which command attacks few. And come at, emit, hex when. The hex, they say is the court, is emit a hex when, where the river divides up down in Egypt. So to put this in context, Exodus 21, he just gave them the 10 commandments. And this is called laws for my servants. And it starts out with voila. And voila is a term that means whoo, and just like magic, voila. He threw the commandments out there and they took it and voila, just like magic. Them septum. I was telling you that last movie about this word, the septum, and them accepted it. Them septum as ritsum of placem, of pingdom, of placem. Voila, them septum as ritsum of placem. In the word command, it's the XU. You can see this X right here. The TS is the X. Asserts is usually what it says. Command. It'll be this assure first, and then an XU, and asserts us. In command. And voila, them septum asserts them of place them and put everybody in their place. And so this definitely ain't my best movie. I can see where I need to go back and fill a lot of empty spaces. And I'm going to have to get back to that. But I run into this in Proverbs 31, and I got to make a movie on it while it's still fresh. But it starts here at line 10, and it goes through the 21 letters, the A and the B, and every line will start with that letter. So it's the ABCs of Egypt here. It's talking about Egypt because the virtues of this noble woman is Aset. That's the other name of Isis. And it's talking about the king and queen, in Ptah, to open Ptah. And they're getting this open wrong because Ptah is not open. The Peter is open. Everything that first opens to call Peter and Richem. And so this is the word I was telling you that's the Matrix. And that's going to be a movie down. But you see that this comes up often with the call in it. Sometimes the call they say is all. Sometimes it'll be after, and sometimes it'll be before the Peter. But the Peter call backwards, much her come, CHM. And the Peter call, much her come, is the first of every womb. And you see this is the word, and Peter, much her come, is when they give the matrix, the much her come. And you see that's how that comes up all the time, the first to open and or come. First to open or come is the matrix. The call writ, Peter, her come, in the matrix. But this here in Proverbs 31, begins here, the words King Lemuel. And it looks like it's going to tell off a bunch of secrets of the vril of Mu'al, the vrilum wall, the milk masses riser to. The masses are the planets. The masses riser to Amu. So I'm going to cut this off here and I'm going to start working on this Proverbs 31. Because I just found it too easy to read and see what these words actually mean. And I'll get back to that other sometime. A good day.